Hey, what's going on, Archons? Welcome to another Boulevard Blake YouTube video, KeyForge Celebrations World Championships 2023. And this is actually the last video I'm going to be doing from this series in this regard. I'm still going to be doing some stuff in relation to the Grim Reminder stuff because I got 3 decks. I just showed you what I built with my alliance. I got a bunch of videos lined up to utilize those 3 decks. But here is my Menagerie deck, which came inside my goodie bag. And I copied Linus. He was in front of me when I wanted to just say hello to Christian T. Peterson. And I've talked to him before, obviously, on the podcast and want to put face-to-face sort of situation. And he had a good idea to sign the Menagerie deck. So I definitely copied Linus and had him sign my Menagerie deck as well, just to kind of commemorate this KeyForge event. And I really liked the idea and I thought it was pretty cool. And let me show you this deck because this deck was so much fun. Like my favorite part of playing KeyForge was this deck. So I had a priest token, which didn't really matter. And then it had Unfathomable, Geistoid, and Equidon. And the 2 packets I got was the, what is it? I think it's called the Dark Discovery pack and the Treachery pack. So the Dark Discovery was obviously this, the drawdown. Came with a Whirlpool, Thundertoe, 2 Call of the Voids, Echo Guardian, which is a new card. While you are haunted, Echo Guardian gets +2 power and gains poison. Had 2 Kelp Miners, which means 4 draw pips from them in here, which is pretty sweet. A Koriki Germinator, which is amazing because it says play and after eat, put a card from a player's discard pile on the bottom of their deck, which is so good with the Dark Discovery pack. Sunk cost, little disruption, Dark Discovery. So it says name 2 cards, discard the bottom 2 cards of your opponent's deck. If they're the name cards, purge, discovery, and forge a key at no cost. And then you had Deep Dive to go along with it, which says discard the top card of your opponent's deck, put a creature that shares it on the bottom. So there's just like greater tools to make this go off, which I think is awesome. Then we go into Geistoid, which this was my first chance to get to play the new house Geistoid, and it is awesome. And so this is the Treachery pack, which basically came with curses, and I got 4 curses in here. And this one, the first one is Curse of Cowardice. At the end of your turn, if you do not use any creatures to fight this turn, lose 2 Ember. If there are no friendly creatures in play, destroy Curse of Cowardice. So because it's Treachery, it means I give this to my opponent, and this effect applies to them every turn. Then I got an Echo Fly. Love this card. 2 draw pips, and it says action, return an action card from your discard pile to your hand. So good. Infiltrator. This is another part of the Treachery pack. Skirmish, Treachery, Versatile. Versatile means it can be used every turn. So my opponent could use this every turn and fight. At the end of your turn, destroy Infiltrator's neighbors. This put in work. It's amazing. And then Veil of Ectoplasm. For each Geistoid card in your discard pile, a friendly creature captures 1. And there's a capture pip. So this was sick with Whirlpool. Just play this card and then go nuts. And then you could do things like return an action card from your discard pile to your hand, rinse and repeat. So good. Beergeist. Choose a creature card at any haunted player's discard and play that creature as if it was yours. Don't mention the fact this has a discard pip on it, so I could take a creature from my hand that's in a different house, throw it into my discard, and then play it. So sick. Next curse. Curse of Obstinacy with capture and a draw pip. At the end of your turn, stun each friendly non-flank creature that shares a house with one of its neighbors. Yeah, this is the card that was my board control, because once my opponent had a string of creatures that all shared a house, they were always stunned. They would never not be stunned because at the end of their turn, it always went back to being stunned. So they could basically unstun them, but then the very next turn, or at the end of their turn, they would be stunned again, unless they did some weird janky stuff where they created a single creature there. So this basically was my board control, and it worked every time. Like, I swear I got it out almost every game, usually multiple curses, if not all 4, and it was oppressive. Then Junk Restoration. I love this card with an extra pip on it. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put a card discarded this way into your hand. Amazing crafting. Skippy has an Ember Pip. This card actually was a little bit sad because it had an Ember Pip on it, and I actually did want to scrap it a bunch of times, but that means I wouldn't get the Ember, so it was a little bit sad, but really good card. play deal 2 damage, or scrap and destroy a flank enemy creature. This was great to make sure I stayed haunted. So you fight into some things, providing 8 power taunt, and then for each damage on Webster, you may discard the top card of each player's deck. So that was pretty cool. There was 2 of those. Then the next curse, Curse of Fertility. At the end of your turn, if you do not play a creature this turn, your opponent gains 1 ember. This one almost never went off. People were always playing creatures. I think I maybe got 2 ember out of that. Now here's the one that's gross, Curse of Disappearances. At the end of your turn, put a friendly creature from your opponent's archives. At the end of your turn, put a friendly creature into your opponent's archives. If that card leaves their archives, put it into the owner's hand instead. This is insane. Dropping this turn 1 to start the game is just bonkers. My very first Menagerie game, I think I actually played against Sky Jedi Luke, and I did this to him, and he was like, why did I design this card this way? So that was really fun little interaction, and getting to play KeyForge with Luke was amazing. Azure Tooth, love this card. Look what this says. Move each ember from a friendly creature to your pool. Give control of that creature to your opponent. So with Whirlpool and all the capture, this was just so good. So if they happen to put my creature back to me, this card put in work. And the fact that it had a an Ember Pip, there was that creature that said be our Geist, so play a creature from your discard pile into play. This was always a choice. So I could discard this, play it, gain an Ember, really tight, and then go into Equidon next turn. Blacksmith, we're all familiar with this one. Aquiji Outpost with a draw pip, familiar with this one. Puzzling Trinket was also in this, by the way, so that was pretty cool. It provided just some flexibility for things. Scrap Scrounger, I appreciated this because for some reason they did get rid of my curses, which were artifacts. I could actually get them back into my hand. Uncommon Currency, a little bit of artifact control, although I never really got to use this because Uncommon Currency was usually my artifacts across me. Estate Sale. This card is so sick. Purge a non-creature card from your discard pile if you do game 2. Honestly, Uncommon Currency was usually the target for this if I could, but I would take anything. It's just a nice little burst because I was worried about them having a creature that could potentially use this and get rid of my own curses. So I really liked Estate Sale to help with that. Double Gem Coat Vendor, we're aware of that. Iron Heidi, if you're haunted, it and each of its neighbors gets +2 armor, pretty cool. Security Detail, a friendly creature in each of his neighbors captures 1. Sick. Whirlpool, enter. Yeah, I had a lot of great pairings with Whirlpool, which was so much fun. And then this deck also had a Stuart Sue Uziani, so that's what created all those draw pips. So I had 5 draw pips in the deck, which is pretty cool. It was pretty enhanced, really fun deck. It was all about the Geistoids, and then getting Whirlpool out was just the cherry on top. But it was really just being in this Geistoid house and just going around and utilizing my discard pile, getting things back. And then once I put 4 curses, my deck was thinned. It was fantastic. Equidons were great too. I really like this deck. It was so much fun to play. I just played it over and over, and it was a ton of fun. So I have one more Menagerie deck. This is what they look like, brand spanking new. I have not opened this one yet. It is still freshy, but I wanted to have 2 so that I could play with someone else, some Menagerie. So still to come. Hope you enjoyed this, and as always, folks, may your ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.